So Lewis hits his head, wakes up, sees the little footprints from Gage, and knows that something is definitely wrong. And then he gets a phone call from Gage saying,
No,
"Hi."
he doesn't get his phone call from Gage.
Oh, no, he does get a phone. Oh, no, first the grandparents call saying, "Hey, is everything all right?" But
yeah.
he hangs up on
No.
him.
Let's talk about that real quick.
Okay.
Because he gets a phone call from the grandfather, you know, and the grandfather, you know, is obviously like, you know, concerned about everything that's been going on, you know, and so he's asking him, hey, you know, did my daughter make your wife? Is she there?
Mm-hmm.
And he starts acting like, you know, she's asleep, you know, you can't talk to her. And he's like, put her on the phone. He hangs up on the grandfather. By the way, which right now makes me feel like he looks guilty as fuck. You know what I mean?
It does look a little bad.
Yeah.
She's just come down with a little case of death.
Yeah, like he knows that she's dead. At that point, hangs up, and then the phone rings again. And that's when we realize that it's Gage.
Yeah, Gage calls. He says, "Hi, Daddy. I had an awful good time at Judd's. I played with Mom, and I want to play with you." That was creepy as hell. I'm not sure if they actually got Miko Hughes, the little boy who plays Gage. I don't know if they actually got him to say it, or it was an ADR, or somebody dubbed it, you know, just doing a voice like I did. But I like to think that they actually got the little kid to say that, so it's got all this innocence in the voice that makes it even creepier.
As someone who doesn't really like, or doesn't like at all, like, you know, horror movies that focus on kids, you know, this was actually like pretty well done. You know, like the kid was actually pretty creepy.
You weren't yelling, "Get off my lawn."
Yeah, no, he was actually like pretty effective, and they didn't overuse him. You know, again, everything was very heartfelt because, you know, you see where the guy, you know, he just lost his kid. You have
that's heartbreaking.
Yeah, of why he was doing this. You know? So at that point, he knows what he has to do, which is kill Gage.
He's got to put him down. He gets a few syringes of like morphine or something. What the hell is it that he even uses?
Yeah, I don't know, because I think it's definitely something that's like pretty strong, because the first thing he does is kill the cat. he puts a needle in Winston Churchill, and that's the end of Winston Churchill. You know, so apparently again, you know, they're
not. Are we talking historical figure and the cat the first time and the cat the
third
second time? So this is the third time Winston Churchill.
Churchill has taken 3 L's, you know, but he had one important W, World War II. You know, so you gotta give it to the guy.
He will never give up. He'll never surrender.
Yeah. He had one good one. But yeah, so Winston Churchill dies. You know,
it is a rough scene to watch, though. In all seriousness, like I'm glad that we have like these laws on film where you cannot hurt animals. Like they really look.
It looked like they actually.
legit.
Yeah, he picks the cat up and he it looks like I was like, I hope that's a fake needle.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those needles.
But that's the fucked up part.
You know, the ones that go in.
No, but see, here's the thing. If you watch the scene, he like, it's not like there's a lot of cuts. You know, he like literally like, you know, injects the cat, and then he's like, they show him put it down, and then like the cat's just like. And it literally like looks like they have a drugged cat.
I don't think they did, because look, they used 11 cats on this film, each to do very significant things, including that.
Guys, like, judge for yourself. Was that cat drugged? I don't know. You know?
I'd love to give him the benefit of the doubt, but
I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I don't know. It was also 1989, so who knows?
Hey, this was made not long after they brought in that law that said you cannot hurt animals. I think that it was the music video for Dire Straits where they had the goldfish die on film, and that they had created a whole thing back then. Okay. And that's what created and if you watch the credits at the end of any movie, it'll say no animals were harmed in the making of this film.
Okay.
I'd like to think that they're perfect for perfect, you know, they're never messed up, but it's convincing.
It's very convincing. It's a very convincing scene. So the cat, obviously, you know, is dead. That's when he goes in the house, finds Gage, and there's, you know, a very heartfelt scene there.
Well, he finds Judd first.
He finds Judd first.
And that's where the hallucination comes in. Like, he sees Judd's house, and it looks like it's been abandoned or underwater for, like, over 20 years. It's really creepy. And then it just disappears, and you see him walking up the stairs like it's nothing, and then you wonder, is he still seeing the rottenness, or is he walking up and he's seeing it like we are, like, oh, we just came out of it?
Right. So finds, you know, Judd, finds Gage. They have a moment where they embrace, and that's like, you know, Gage has a knife, and he injects Gage, and that's when he's like,
Well, he sure stabs the hell out of him at first. Like,
oh yeah, no,
I don't know how this kid does this. He takes the mom into
we
the
forgot
attic,
about this part. Okay,
and the mom
so-
comes out like she's
Yeah.
hanging from a noose. Her eyes been stabbed out, so clearly he had fun.
There's
with
a
her.
reveal basically where he's walking through this kind of haunted house like dream sequence, and like I guess Gage somehow has like rigged this whole thing up where like the mom's body comes down and it's like hanging from a noose, and it's very graphic. Again, one of the more graphic moments in the actual movie. Body comes down, and then that's
trying
when
to stab him.
Exactly. They have a fight scene and Gage, kills Gage. So now you're kind of like, is the movie over?
What does he
do
now?
What's going on? And there is an actual like, what is going on now? He burns the house down next door, the Fred Gwynn
With
house.
Gage and Judd still inside.
Right.
You wonder where Rachel is.
At this point, the ghost comes back, and he's again had a relationship, with the ghost because he's one of the only characters who actually interacts with the ghost. The daughter sees the ghost in her dreams, but never actually sees him in real life. The wife feels the presence, and the ghost talks at the wife, but the wife never sees him. But the ghost does actually talk to him in real life.
Yeah, like he's the only one that does.
He's the only one who
connect
actually
with.
sees the ghost. At this point, the ghost is like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Please stop, you dumbass.
And this is when Lewis is making the argument that because his wife had just died and she was fresher, that she wouldn't come back all fucked up.
Sure.
Now then, at the end of the movie, the wife comes back, and again, that's one of the grosser points because she is like, they don't show her in any other way other than all kinds of fucked up.
Yeah, they actually refilmed the ending of that because the original ending, I think, was supposed to be just her hand on his shoulder as it is in the book. There's some gravel in her mouth that goes, darling. And it ends. You don't know what happens to the daughter or the grandparents, or even Lewis for that fact matter. So they didn't think that the movie was quite, gory enough for 1989. So they added that scene of her walking in and you see him playing cards and her eyes just, what's left of it, it's like oozing out. It's just grotesque. He's full on making out with her, and to this day, like,
He doesn't see that. You kind of see it for a moment from his point of view.
Maybe it's kind of like it's the reverse of what he saw at Judd's, like with the whole place looking underwater. Like he sees his beautiful wife.
Yeah, like the Pet Sematary is obviously fucking with the way he sees things. At a moment there, I believe that there is a moment where it kind of like pans to like the camera pans to the other side, and
yeah, she's got a knife and it's coming in from this direction.
Well, that's the point where you see like, and that's that she's obviously like behind her back, like picking up a knife, and that's kind of like then you don't actually see her stab him, but there's a big implication that that's what happens.
Well, before we get to like our final thoughts, remember we did talk about this. The acting of Dale Midkiff, and how stoic he is. He's a lot. I don't know if wooden's the right word, but he never really seems to get overcharged or overexcited, like in the scene where he yells, no, like obviously that fits, but for the most part, he is rather stoic. It makes you, I think that actually kind of helps him in the film as an actor because it makes you wonder when he completely lost his mind, because by the time he is trying to bury his wife again, or well, for the first time, He's clearly lost his mind. He's completely gone. But when did it happen? Did it happen as soon as he woke up? Did it happen as soon as he saw Judd? Maybe he already lost his mind when he walked through Judd's door. You don't know when exactly it happened. Maybe it was when he put down Gage.
Well, that's where
Churchill.
That's where you gotta if you're gonna watch this movie with that kind of critique, you gotta ask yourself: is this guy, or rather, is this movie delivered in such a way where the subject matter is written so well that it can withstand bad acting, or did the bad acting actually help deliver this, this character?
Yeah, you gotta wonder, because Stephen King did write he wrote the screenplay for it. He made sure that he had complete control. All right, so look, Stephen King had complete control over the script. Like, he was the scriptwriter, and he wasn't going to sell this movie, which of course he wrote, to any other studio unless he had complete control over it. So that is how this film came to be, and he also, through his own admission, had cut out a lot of things that he didn't think needed to be in the final product of the film for like pacing issues, such as the Wendigo and how the Micmac burial grounds came to be. Now, there's a lot of other videos out there that can explain a lot better than I can right now because, this video's probably gone on for long enough. But point being, there's a lot of stuff that they did take out, but it was because Stephen King wanted it to be. And now this brings us to 2019 and the remake, which he was consulted on, but didn't have final say in everything, and has made quite a few changes if you have seen the trailers for them. And we are going to talk about that movie when it comes out on April 5th. But for right now, why don't we break out a score for this film? What'd you think overall of Pet Sematary 1989?
Well, if we're gonna score it, like, what's our system?
I was thinking 3 or 4 run over kids or something, out of 5, something like that. I don't know.
We are
4 dead Judds out of 5? I don't know, something like that. Think outside the box.
I gotta be the voice
Cemetery
of
box. Alright,
so we're limited. So like between 1 to 5 stars or 1 to 5 run over dead.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, 1 out of 5 run over dead kids. Sure.
So for me, I'd have to put it at probably like a solid 3.
Solid 3.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely worth a watch. It holds your attention and the pacing is quick. If you watch it, you're gonna understand a lot of references. South Park makes a ton of jokes.
Yeah, South Park has made 100 billion jokes out of that Judd character.
So yeah, if you want to understand South Park references, you really should watch the movie.
It's important. It's an important piece of comedy, which is why I threw those little bits in.
Right. What do you think? I'm sure you're gonna get the name.
Well, I can. We're on a level of 5.
But if you could.
Well, I read the book, so I fill the void of the stuff that's missing in my own mind, but I gotta take that out of the equation, just look at it as a movie on its own. There's certain judgment calls made by, Judd that don't really make a whole lot of sense unless you've read the book. I think that the ghost character, they could have done a little bit more with him, but they didn't. They could have explained more of the Micmac burial ground, but they didn't. But still, overall, this movie just has a creepy feeling. Like, it's very dread, man. Like, it's seriously creepy. Like, there's just an aura in it that sticks with you. Even though not all the acting is top-notch, the special effects aren't always top-notch, but you don't really need those special effects all that much because you are drawn into the characters. And like I said, Judd is the heart of the movie. I love Fred Gwynne's portrayal in this film, and the most important thing for me coming into this isn't so much whether or not they make changes to who dies in the new Pet Sematary, it's how they get Judd. And they got John Lithgow for that, so hopefully it's going to be good. Overall, though, I think I gotta go with 3 out of 5 as well. I'm going to stick with you on that one because, God, the super nerd in me that loves this movie can still recognize some of the problems. Mary Lambert is not the best director. Stephen King could use a little bit of help with fleshing out, more of the film. But for what they got, and when they made it, especially at the time when Jason, Freddy, Michael Myers, and all that were at their zenith, to come out with a heartfelt horror film in the 80s is pretty unheard of. And it made a ton of money. I mean, $57 million at the box office.
Yeah,
for a horror film in the 80s? That's nuts!
I remember growing up, like, this was a big rental. Like, everybody, definitely knew Pet Sematary, brought it home. Like, this was a very, very well received movie. Even in the home video, market. So, success all around, I think.
Yeah.
Overall, even though, it does have, its issues. I would recommend giving it a watch before going to see the new one.
Yeah, definitely watch this before you check it out. Avoid Pet Sematary 2, though. I actually tried to give it the benefit of the doubt the other day because I hadn't seen it in years, and I couldn't finish it. It was pretty bad. Really, really bad. But yeah, go check out the new one. We're going to check it out as well. Thumbs up for this movie. 3 out of 5 run over kids. So go check it out, people. And we'll see you next time on the next episode of Bro v Bro. We're back!